Good morning, Duncan here for another video, and in today's video I'm going to be talking about Co-op Live. Now if you don't know, Co-op Live is a new concert venue here in Manchester. It was built by Oakview Group, partly sponsored by Harry Styles, and the naming sponsor is Co-op, hence the name Co-op Live. The official name for the venue is actually Eastlands Arena. That is the trading name. That is the company name. So when it was during development, during building, it was known as Eastlands Arena, and then the naming sponsor came in as Co-op Live. Now, I'm sure you know, but if you don't, we'll go through a bit of what's been happening with Co-op Live. It's had a very troubled start to its life as an arena. Firstly, it had multiple delays due to the pandemic. They did start building in 2020, so it was a lot of stop-start, leading to one of the biggest problems, which was completion of the building. Now, we got to the test event. Now, that was on the 24th, if I remember correctly. These test events are very, very important because it shows them what they're doing well and what can be changed before they open officially. Now, just before the test event, about 2 hours before, people with tickets got an email from Co-op Live and Ticketmaster saying that their tickets were actually being cancelled as the capacity was dropped even more. It was dropped by 50%. It was meant to be 11,000 people. Ended out only being round about 5,000. So yeah, just over 50% capacity drop for that test event. Not the best start. Now this all stemmed from the fact that the upper bowl actually had no power. There was a really big power problem in the building, and I'll get onto that in a sec because I don't think it's fully sorted. Now, they noticed the test event didn't go as planned. The press were talking about it. There were videos and photos from within the arena showing that it was nowhere near completion. There were cables just left dangling from the ceiling still. Some of the doors weren't even installed yet. And the fact that they were meant to have Peter Kay opening the venue in 2 days' time didn't fill people with much confidence. And, well, as you may know, and as now basically the whole world knows, they delayed the opening and Peter Kay got cancelled. At the same time, they also announced the cancellation of that date for the Black Keys, as they knew the building would not be ready yet. They were postponed to a later date, and the Black Keys have since performed, and Peter Kay is performing soon. Now we fast forward to the beginning of May, when Boogie with the Hoodie, a US rapper, was meant to open the arena. Fans were queuing outside of the arena there, and some of them were queuing for a long time because it was a standing show. So the floor was in standing configuration, which meant people arrived quite early to get a barrier. And half an hour before doors open, people started getting a whiff that something wasn't correct. And sadly, their concerns were valid, as 5 minutes after doors were meant to open, everyone in the queue was handed a paper note saying, sadly, the evening had been cancelled. Please leave the area immediately. There will be no concert tonight. Now, this really wasn't a good look for Co-op, because we now know the reason why that concert was cancelled. And that concert was cancelled because a bit of the air conditioning unit fell from the gantry all the way down onto the floor. Yeah, if that happens, you can't open the venue. You just can't. Under health and safety, it's not allowed. They knew that. So to carry on like they were going to open was really, really bad. So that evening, along with the announcement that that concert was cancelled, the Olivia Rodrigo concert was also cancelled and to be rescheduled. To this date, we still don't have a rescheduled date for the two Olivia Rodrigo shows. Boogie with the Hoodie actually moved over to the AO Arena, the original arena for Manchester. And Keane rescheduled his concert dates to later this year in Co-op Live still. Now the biggest one was the Take That residency. They were going to be playing 5 shows in a row at Co-op Live. Now, we didn't get any announcement from Co-op about what was going to be happening with the show, so everyone was sat in a bit of a, ooh, what's going to happen? But we eventually found out from Take That themselves that they had taken the decision to move over to the AO and not wait for anything from Co-op. Now, that did include one date change as Tenacious D, the rock band with Jack Black, was playing on one of the original Take That dates. So they had to move it by just one day. So that was pretty good going by the AO and by Take That to have a Take That gig, take the stage down, put up the stage for Tenacious D, take it down, put up the stage for Take That, and let them finish their run here in Manchester. That was really good going, and I applaud anyone working in the AO Arena and the Take That and Tenacious D tour, because that was really, really good going. Normally, they have a bit more of a barrier. That was impressive. After 3 failed attempts, we eventually got to the night last week where the venue opened to the public. Now, the opening act was actually Manchester's Elbow, which I think is a really good way to open. Originally, it was going to be Peter Kay, which is also he's also from Manchester, but for the fact that it's a music-based venue, it was designed to host music, so there's acoustic treatment there for music, means that for it to be opened by a Mancunian band, I think, is the best way that that venue opened. Now that's enough about that one. Now that's enough about the history. Let's go on to the big one. Let's go to the concert I went to. So I went to go watch Barry Manilow. Now this night was set to be grand. It was meant to show off the capabilities of the venue, as this was an artist coming in who had designed the show to be very close to a Las Vegas residency. It was a one-night show, and it was to basically show off the venue. So before we get on to the show itself, let's start with the entry process. Now, there's, unlike the AO, where if you are in the standing area or the floor, if it's seated as well, if you're on the floor, you have an entrance through Trinity Tunnel. That's still quite new, so people are still getting round to knowing that exists. But if you're on any of the tiered seats, if that's 100 level or the 200 level, you can enter through 2 places, and that is on Hunt's Bank or through the City Rooms, which is within Victoria Station. But everyone has to enter through those no matter what. Co-op have tried to be a bit different. So there's a separate entrance for the floor, but there should also be separate entrances for the 100 level, the 200 level, and the 300 level. Now, there are 3 different seated levels, and I'll get to those in a second. But the problem is, last night, because they believe they are at a capped capacity. They're only filling that place to 15,000 at the moment, whilst they're still easing into the opening. They thought that everyone in tiered seating, apart from the 200 level, could go through one entrance. And we actually saw this is a bit of a problem. The building wasn't designed for that. The building was designed that each level has a separate entrance, which helps basically keep people flowing. This is not happening, and we're seeing a Disney-style queue outside of the building. If you don't know what a Disney-style queue is, I'm putting a photo on here. Yeah, as you can see, it's not the best when you look at what happens at the likes of AO. And this was 10 minutes after doors had opened. So the fact that there was still a queue like this after doors open shows they need to go with what the original plan was. Now there are 3 seated levels in Co-op Live. You've got the 100 level, so that's the lower bowl. That is your wrap around, the most expensive standard seats. So your general admission, the most expensive because you're closer, you're lower down. So that's your most expensive general admission seated tickets. Then you get up to the 200 level. Now that is their VIP and experience level. You've got what I can only say are boxes. They're not really boxes. They're mini boxes, but they have a larger restaurant behind them. Just when you get it to it, they're boxes that seat 8 people each, 2 rows of 4. And then you get to what's called the galleries. They are on the sides as you're about to go round the back of the arena. They are basically 2 restaurants with the seating as well. And then you've got the basically VIP seating, which is right at the back, looking straight down at the stage if it's in traditional format. And those are just like any normal seating block. There is nothing special about them. They're just segregated as a smaller area, and there's only 10 rows of those seats. Then we get to level 300. Now 300 is your up in the gods, as it's like people like to say. And those are normally the cheapest tickets in the venue. And it ranges from, if you're at the very back, because of that VIP seating, you've got rows 6 all the way to 22. 26, sorry. So there's 20 rows of seats over there. But if you go around the corners, you have the rest of the rows. It's just because of the VIP seating there that there's only from row 6 and above. Now, I'll talk about the bowl first because that's the only place that I can say is ready. The arena bowl is fantastic. You feel much closer to the artist than you do in the likes of AO Arena. The seats are newer, so they are more comfortable, but there is a lot more legroom than at the AO or indeed the likes of the Utilita Arena in Newcastle. The seats here have a lot more legroom. You can see it was designed for music because it really is comfortable to sit in. And for a concert like Barry Manilow, where a lot of the time you're sat down, it's very nice having comfortable seats. The seats come with armrests, which do have cup holders included in the armrests. If you've ever been to Aber Voyage, they're the same seats that they have in Aber Voyage. Now, the problem is, and I found this at Aber Voyage as well, you put a cup in there, you try and sit down, you will knock the cup over. Those cup holders encroach into the seating area so much that you actually feel like you're quite squished in. It's not really as comfortable as it should be. Now I was in block 310, row 9, so I was quite low down to the bottom of that block. and I was seat 251, so I was a tiny bit in from the end, but still it was really, really good, amazing view. Now, house lights wise, this kind of felt a bit temporary, the house lights. They were scattered all over, but they felt very, very temporary. So who knows, maybe we're going to see more house lighting installed, but who knows. But one of the weird things is that the staircases on each block are illuminated throughout the whole evening, throughout the whole event. So they're lit up blue by lights on the ceiling throughout the concert, and when it's smoky, you see all these light beams all around the arena, and I find that's a bit weird because normally it's pitch black, so you're just focusing on the stage and the lighting from the stage. I'm not so keen on the fact that they're being illuminated from the ceiling. In all means, keep them illuminated, it makes it safer. We look at AO, they don't keep the staircases that illuminated. So it is a nice addition and makes sure that safety is paramount. However, illuminate them, I'd say, from lights on the side of the steps so you can see, so it's not interfering with looking down at the stage. That is my only issue with the way they're illuminating the stairs. Now, the entrance for each of the blocks is slap bang in the center of the block. Well, kind of. The way they've done the blocks isn't the traditional way where you have a block, a staircase, a block, a staircase. The blocks start halfway through the seating area, go to the staircase, across the staircase, and then halfway down the next seating area. That is a block, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. Right? It's a bit weird. I'm not going to lie. I was very confused by why they've done that. So when you get into your entrance for the block, on the sides are little arrows saying, go this way if your seat whatever to whatever, or go this way if your seat whatever to whatever. Very weird. Very, very weird. Now, the Arena Bowl is pretty much complete. It sounds amazing. I'm going to quickly put some clips of Barry Manilow so you can hear the audio quality. Yes, of course, it's a video that was taken through my phone and then it's gone through YouTube and you're watching it at home probably through your phone, so it's not going to be the best. But it does just show you how clear the vocals are through the speakers in Co-op Live. Now that's enough about the bowl. Let's go on to the concourse. Now I told you about the issue when arriving. Now the biggest reason why there's such a problem getting into that venue at the moment is because, as I said, everyone's going through one entry and it's not designed to be like that. So the way they work is it's not people checking your tickets, you go through a ticket barrier. Now this isn't the best for a concert like Barry Manilow, where there's a lot of an older crowd and basically they only have one staff member looking after that line of ticket barriers. People don't know how to use the ticket barriers because if you go to AO, it's a person who scans them. So it's a bit harder for people to scan tickets there. So that's the biggest problem. They needed to have more people just to tell people how to use the ticket barriers. Ticket barriers are great, they work perfectly. If you have a barcode, you scan it, there's a little slot to put your phone in to scan the QR code, the barcode. Or if you're like me and use Apple Wallet or Google Wallet where you can save it and then it's an NFC ticket, there's a little NFC band at the top where you tap your phone and the barriers open straight away. It's fantastic, it works perfectly. It's very quick, but there are only 10 gates because it was made to only have one level, not two. Because the level 200 being VIP has its own entrance, entrance A. Everyone who was in a tiered seat other than VIP was going through entrance D, and entrance B was being used for anyone on the floor. There is entrance E, which is also meant for people. So what's meant to happen is anyone who's in level 300 goes through entrance D, and they're taken straight onto the staircase and up. And anyone for level 100 goes through entrance E, and they go straight in to their level. And then you have entrance G, which is for the backstage club. Now, it's annoying because their system is so good. They have the ticket barriers and then the walk straight through security scanners. It is so good. It's just their current plan to have everyone going through one entrance for the tiered seating is so bad, and it's causing problems when actually there doesn't need to be problems. It's designed to work for separate levels. Please take it back to what it was designed for, because it is so good. And if it was run properly, it would be so quick, and you'd be in quicker than AO, which is saying something because they are really good there. Now, once you're in the arena, when you're on the 100 level, everything looks fantastic. You start making your way up to level 300, and it starts slipping a bit. Now, level 300 was where those power issues occurred. And as I said, I don't think it's sorted as of yet. Now, you go up either the escalators or the stairs, and basically on the way up on the escalator, you look behind you, some of the cladding's not even up around it yet, so you can see all the cables behind, obviously, because they're still sorting the power. You get up to level 300, everyone arriving last night got a voucher for some drinks, or for a drink or for a snack. The snack was a bag of Co-op crisps, you know, those, the proper like Co-op, I can't remember what they're called, but the really fancy Co-op crisps, a full big bag, or you could get a drink. So there was 7-Up, Pepsi Max, a can of water or a Peroni, and they were all included just as an apology for all the craziness of Co-op Live opening. Even though it didn't cause any problems for Barry Manilow, they were still like, sorry that you even had to think that it wasn't going ahead. So we all got a free drink or snack. Now, I went for the snack because I didn't want any of those drinks, and I believed it was better because I went to the bar afterwards to see what the bar was like. Now, here's a picture of the bar. Now, this bar is one of the bars that's up in level 300. The famous bar is the Founders Bar on the street, which is for anyone on the floor, but you can get to it if you're on any level. You just have to make your way down the stairs, the escalators, or the lift, and you can get to the street. Now, I didn't go to the street, I just stayed on my level to look around my level. Now, this is where it all started going wrong. There were still cables dangling from the ceiling, and this is in the open area of the arena. They had put temporary boxes where you can see they had some power coming in. There were temporary lights in the ceiling that they were using. Some were switched on, some were still switched off. This isn't good. Some of the bars weren't even switched on. They were working, but they were can only because their pumps weren't working. They had no power yet. This is really bad. I walked completely around, and you could actually go behind the stage to the other 300 blocks, which will open if a show is in the round. They shouldn't have had that area open, because I walk in there, it's still a construction site. Half of the standing area is covered by construction walls. There are cables dangling. They're using temporary lights. It's not a good look. The fact that they're allowing people to still walk through there was really, really bad. They stopped me from taking photos. I'm not surprised. But it wasn't the best that they even allowed people to walk through there. It should have been cordoned off that people weren't allowed. So you didn't see that the building is still nowhere near completion. But if you were in that level, you got a feeling of that. Cables were dangling, power wasn't working at some bars. It's not the best. Now, this is a really annoying thing, this next one, because it is so simple that it's actually infuriating that this is a problem. And it's the toilets. Now, of course, I'm not going to take photos in the toilets, so sadly you'll have to trust me with this. But you go in, it looks fine, but you look closer, it's nowhere near ready. Each sink, so it's one of those big long sinks, and then you've got the taps. The taps are censored, they're really nice, but there's also a tap for hand wash. They're not working. They've got temporary hand wash tubs along the back. Not the best. That's an easy sort. They should have had those ready. But the more concerning part is the toilet cubicles. They are like you're in America. Now, if you've been to America, I haven't, but we all know what American toilet cubicles are like. The door ends ridiculously high up, and there's massive gaps on either side of the door. Yeah, Co-op Live's like that. No, in the UK, we don't have toilets like that. Even at AO, the wood on the outside goes a bit over to cover the gap, and the door goes lower down. The fact that there's those big gaps on the side of a toilet cubicle is not the best and needs sorting as soon as possible, because that is not good. The toilets, when you look closer, yet again, are nowhere near finished. And that was like it on the 100 level as well, because I checked those out just to see if they were the same. My overall views of Co-op Live are: the venue is amazing, but it's nowhere near ready. There are things that are causing problems that it shouldn't be open. The toilets, having those issues, I understand, okay, just using some temporary disposable hand washed containers, yeah, okay, they were Bayliss and Harding, so quite nice. But the problem is, it doesn't matter. They've had 3 years. I know there's been delays, but those toilet doors, they were not because of a delay. They were a decision. They've cheaped out, and that is not okay in what's meant to be the best concert venue in the UK. Not good at all. Then we go on to the power issue. The fact that some bars didn't have power, so they were can only. That's horrific. Seriously? And then you go on to some bars, like the one I went to, where half the screens are broken. They've only just opened and their screens are broken. Come on. Cables dangling from the ceiling, using temporary house lighting on the concourses. It's not good. Really, really not good. And then the problem getting into the venue, because they're only using one entrance for any tiered seating unless you've got backstage club, is also not on. They need to sort these problems because it's letting them down. When you're in the bowl, the experience in there is phenomenal. There's no advertising anywhere. It is amazing. But in the concourses, it is awful. And it needs sorting. And it needed addressing. Because people are talking about how the arena is amazing. And I'm like, it is. But it's also a big letdown in some areas. But that was my view on Co-op Live. That was my experience. Everyone has a different experience. Some people could have had an awful experience. completely. Some people could have had an amazing experience. I don't know. That was my experience and all my views. But here's to hopefully Co-op Live having a much better and brighter future. Let's hope they get all of these things sorted for when they see Take That in June, because that is set to be a big concert with some differences according to Take That. I think it'll be a cinema live. But anyway, that was my view on Co-op Live. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. See you later.